Jack Trav in LAPD. We have a slight situation on the bus here.
Oh, great. The fuzz found out about the action replay.
There is a bomb on this bus. If we slow down, it'll blow.
So, can I keep the action replay?
Okay.
So, the driver doesn't look too good. Do you need me to take over?
Yeah, I need to know, can you handle this bus?
Sure, it's just like driving a really big Tauros. Huh. So, are we alright about the action replay thing? I don't need the Nintendo ninjas coming after me.
We're okay for now, just keep us above 50.
So you know, I'm a Pokemon professor.
I know.
Oh really? You like Pokemon? You know, in the new Pokemon Snap game, you can see a full-size Wailord, to scale and everything.
What are you telling me for?
Because it's awesome! It's huge!
You're kidding! How big?
Massive! But my main research is based on Pokemon VGC, the video game championship format.
How are you doing?
Great! VGC is very popular after all. You, know what that is, right?
It's a game.
Yeah. Some players make very good money playing it, actually. They practice all the time.
If he gets the money, he wins. Then tomorrow we'll play another one.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, as a younger man, I played in a few events myself.
I know. You did very well. Actually, you were incredible.
Gee, thanks. But now I'm the headmaster at a VGC academy.
Tell me good news, man.
Well, enrollments are open. You should join.
You know I can.
Yeah, married to the Force. Makes sense. So, what are you going to do about the bus?
Floor it!
Okay. Engaging Tailwind.
You made it.
Good thinking. Nurse Joy can fix any problem. So, now that the bus is all set, do you want to join the VGC Academy?
Maybe. I think I might.
Wow. Welcome to the Academy, Keanu. Oh no. Hey Professor, did Keanu Reeves show up in your dream again? He did, and he told me what we need to do for our next lesson. Hey students, welcome back to another lesson at the BridgeFour Games Pokemon VGC Academy. Now today's lesson is one of the most important lessons we can teach you about the Pokemon Video Game Championship format. And that of course is speed control. Now you may think that speed isn't as important as being able to hit really hard or shrug off hits from the opponent, but in reality, speed is actually one of the most important stats in the competitive Pokemon format. Additionally, being able to manipulate that stat to your benefit can make the difference between whether or not you win or lose your next event. So why is this so important? Well, let's ask the expert himself. He's the headmaster of our very fine academy here and our very own Pokemon professor, Professor Hickory. Thanks, Blaine. You're 100% right. When it comes to competitive Pokemon, big offenses and big defenses are of course very important. But championships are won and lost on the back of speed control. Now how can controlling speed be as important as offensive and defensive power? Well, under normal circumstances, a Pokemon with a higher speed than an opposing Pokemon will attack it first before the opposing Pokemon can attack it in return. Hitting first is a massive advantage in Pokemon. If you KO an opposing Pokemon, they can't hit you back. Consider this scenario if you will. You and your opponent during a game of VGC have the exact same Pokemon. During the first turn, you knock each other down to 25% HP remaining. Now, you know that on the second turn, you're both able to KO each other. Well, who wins? The one who acts first, obviously. This is why attacking first in Pokemon is so important. If you attack first, you'll be the first one to get a KO, and then getting the first KO will often lead you to getting a win. Making sure that you have your speed interactions under control begins all the way back with breeding and training your Pokemon. As we all know, Pokemon can have between 0 and 31 IVs in a given stat, a nature that can reduce one stat and add to another one, as well as effort values ranging from 0 to 252 in any given stat. At level 50, the level VGC is played at, you will get 1 stat point in a stat for every 8 EVs you invest in that stat, with the first 4 points giving you 1 point at a discount. If you want to go super fast, you can put 31 IVs in your speed, give yourself a boosting nature with a nature like Jolly or Timid, and you can also give yourself 252 EVs in that stat as well. You'll be moving like the Flash before you know it. But if you go 0 IVs in your speed, along with a hindering nature like Brave, and 0 EVs, then your Pokemon will be slower than a turtle crawling through maple syrup. Now you're probably wondering why you'd want your Pokemon to be slow. Well, we'll cover that a little bit later on in the video. We'll do a deeper dive into this in the future with another video, but for right now, keep in mind that as long as you have a clear and concise plan for what you want to do with a Pokemon, that will determine what IVs, EVs, and nature that Pokemon will have. Now, it may seem odd to consider manipulating your speed stat as early as breeding and training your Pokemon, but consider this. Everybody uses the Pokemon Incineroar these days, right? I mean, it kind of does everything. Well, let's say you're using the typical Incineroar, say 244 HP, 92 defense, and 172 special defense. Now, you know that you want your Incineroar to outspeed other people's Incineroars, so what do? You train yours a little bit, give it a little speed, say 4 or 12 EVs. Now, under normal circumstances, your Incineroar is going to be moving first before anybody else's. This is the first step you can take towards controlling speed in your matches, and it happens before you even link with another player. Now, in the beginning on the sign, it said speed control. Well, what the heck is that? Well, you see, you can prepare your Pokemon however you want. You can take the time to breed them, train them as you see fit. But ultimately, that's only half the battle. You're also going to want to manipulate your speed stat while your battles are raging on. So, how do you do that? Well, there are 5 main ways. So, the next part of the video will be broken down into 5 chapters. Now, the most common type of speed control also happens to be the most obvious. You want to be faster? Make yourself faster! As we all know, by using various attacks, Pokemon can experience an increase or decrease to one of 7 stats. Attack, Defense, Special Attack, Special Defense, Speed, Evasion, and Accuracy. Now these boosts or drops can be anywhere from 1 to 6 stages, with each one being a certain percentage of the total stat value. The exact value of stat boost and stat drops varies a little bit depending on how many you have and whether or not they're positive or negative. So rather than go over it all here, we'll post a full breakdown of how it works in the description of this video, and we'll also be doing a more in-depth analysis of it in a future video. For now, just remember that the more increases you have, the faster your Pokemon will be. Now, a Pokemon at +1 will see a 50% increase to its speed stat. That is one speedy little devil. This is pretty substantial because average speed Pokemon can outspeed Pokemon that are typically considered fast with ease at +1. In VGC, the most common ways to get speed boosts are using moves like Max Airstream, Dragon Dance, and Geomancy, with other moves like Quiver Dance, Aura Wheel, and Shell Smash being somewhat less common. All of these moves, even Aura Wheel, are well known in VGC circles because the benefit of getting +1 speed is so strong. Now you might be thinking that list of moves is pretty small. Well, it is. After all, not every Pokemon can have access to every move. That brings us to Chapter 2. So now we've covered making your own Pokemon faster. But what about when that's not an option? Well, a little movie called Without a Paddle summarized that perfectly.
Can't outrun that bear.
I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Now the movie itself is awful, and does remind me of what happened to my old colleague, Professor Crabapple, who wasn't as fast as old Hickory here. But it does bring up a good point. Sometimes you don't have to be faster than everything around. You just need to be faster than the other guy. When you can't make your own Pokemon faster, why not make your opponent's Pokemon slower? Moves that make the opponent's Pokemon slower are well known in VGC because the effect is very similar to making your own Pokemon faster. The upswing of doing so is so high that any option to reduce or change speeds is huge. In VGC, the moves Max Strike, Icy Wind, Electro Web, and Bulldoze all see frequent use because the benefit of manipulating speed is so strong. In the case of all 4 of these moves, they reduce both the opposing Pokemon's speed. This means that both Pokemon will be slower than most Pokemon that you switch into, and you also don't need to worry about conserving your boost when you switch in and out. Now the major difference between these 2 stat strategies is honestly the Pokemon using the moves. In the case of boosting speed, typically it's the attacking Pokemon that is going to be doing the boosting. You want to have it be the fastest Pokemon around after all. However, when you're dropping your opponent's speed, it typically falls onto the role of a more supportive Pokemon to do so. This is often a huge benefit because it allows your primary attackers to concentrate on attacking and positioning, and leaves the job of speed control to its ally. By synergizing stat boost and drops, you open up an entirely new dimension of VGC that opens up new roads to victory. But I know what you're thinking. What about mons with Clear Body, or the attacks Clear Smog or Haze? My boosts either won't work or they'll just get blown away. That's actually a great point that brings us into our next chapter. Now sometimes you don't want to mess around with stat boosts or stat drops. After all, your boost can get hazed away or they will go away when you switch in and out. So what are you supposed to do? Well, worry not. These moves both positively and negatively affect speed without having anything to do with stat boost or stat drops. The first and most obvious method of speed control is Tailwind. Tailwind is a status move that doubles the speed of all of your Pokemon for 4 turns. This move is usually paired with a very fast Pokemon or a Pokemon with Prankster, so you can get it off as quick as possible and start cashing in on the benefits right away. Under Tailwind, some of the slowest Pokemon ever can outspeed some of the fastest Pokemon around. For example, take Calyrex Shadow. It has a base speed stat of 150. At level 50, Calyrex Shadow with max speed comes in at 222 speed. Now let's take a look at Dramatar. It's not a fast Pokemon by any means. It has a base speed stat of 61. But with max EVs in speed, under Tailwind, it reaches a speed stat of 226, outspeeding Calyrex Shadow and having a few points to spare. Tailwind will always be the go-to choice for affecting your own Pokemon, but what about when you want to affect your opponent? Well, there are three main strategies to allow you to do this. The first is Paralysis. If you can paralyze an opposing Pokemon with Thunder Wave or Nuzzle, it will reduce that Pokemon's speed stat by 50% and keep it halved as long as they remain paralyzed. This will work similarly to the stat drop strategy, in that as long as you're outspeeding the other Pokemon, it doesn't matter how fast you are as long as you're faster than them. One thing to keep in mind with the strategy though is that it needs to be employed by a fast Pokemon or a Pokemon with Prankster. The reason why this needs to be the case is because you want the ally of the Pokemon doing the paralysis to be able to take advantage of the opponent's newly diminished speed right away. Now the next two strategies don't really affect speed, but they do affect the order in which Pokemon move. One of these moves works for your ally, and the other one works on the opposing Pokemon. Think of them as two sides of the same coin, and those two sides are After You and Quash. After You is a status move that allows your ally Pokemon to move directly after You is used. By giving a very fast Pokemon After You, you can allow that Pokemon's ally to move first regardless of whatever its speed stat may be. The same is true for Quash, but it works the other way around. Quash makes the target move last, so when it's used, no matter what speed the opposing Pokemon has, it will move only after every other Pokemon has moved. Now again, this is a case where you want either a fast move or a Pokemon with Prankster, because you want to take advantage of Quash as early in a turn as possible to get the most value out of it. You also don't want a faster Pokemon than you to accidentally get off an attack before you're able to quash it, so stick to mons that are already naturally fast, and they will help out their ally become even faster. In a way, of course. Now there is a fourth way to affect your opponent's speed, but it is much more difficult to pull off. All of the starter Pokemon can learn Pledge moves. Fire Pledge, Water Pledge, and Grass Pledge are moves that can all interact with one another, forming two attacks into one large attack with an amazing secondary benefit. Now during a battle, if you are able to combine Grass Pledge with Water Pledge, your opponent's side of the battlefield will become a swamp, quartering all of their Pokemon's speeds. We're not going to really spend too much time talking about the pledges since they're more fun than good competitively really, and nobody really uses them in VGC. All you need to keep in mind is that when you look at pledges, grass plus water equals slow down. Now there's one final type of speed control status move, but it doesn't really speed up or slow down anything. That is Trick Room. Trick Room is the slowest move in the entire game with the lowest priority in the entire game, -7. It needs to go last in a turn because otherwise the effect could cause issues for normal gameplay. You see, Trick Room reverses the order Pokemon attack in. All Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, will find that the slowest Pokemon will be attacking first, while the fastest Pokemon will be attacking last. This strategy is one of the strongest in VGC because of how disruptive it can be for the opponent, and because of the fact that it allows high attack, high defense Pokemon with terrible speed stats to be at the top of the metagame because they can now attack first. Tailwind and Trick Room are moves that you should expect to see at any VGC event, and they are a great starting point for when you're designing your next team. Now I know this all seems like a ton of info, and it is, but I promise you we're almost done. Now it should be no surprise that with all the other options available, some items can manipulate your speeds as well. Now just like moves like Tailwind and Trick Room, items give you the options of going super fast or slow and steady. Now keep in mind that there are a lot of niche items out there, but we're really only looking at the ones that are consistent and commonly found in VGC. Let's take a look at the fast side of things. When you want to go fast, there is really only one clear winner, Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf is an item that boosts a Pokemon's speed by 50%, but locks them into the first move they use. Now this may seem like a major drawback, but with how powerful speed is in VGC, it's one that can be overlooked. There really isn't any better item for going fast than Choice Scarf. It's top dog for a reason after all. But if you're looking to go slow, you have a few different options. First is Iron Ball. Now imagine, if you will, a massive iron ball. Sounds heavy, right? Well, it is! Iron Ball is a heavy item that results in your Pokemon being grounded and also having their speed stat cut in half. This means that they are prime candidates for being Trick Room attackers because their speed has been reduced, making them faster in Trick Room. Now all of the power items listed here, as well as Macho Brace, do the same thing. They're heavy, so they reduce the Pokemon's speed by half, except those items don't ground the Pokemon. They're all very similar to Iron Ball, so we're not going to be going over them one by one. Just keep them in mind. Another option for all you slowpokes out there is Room Service. Now this isn't a maid coming in to leave a mint on your pillow, it's an item that activates during Trick Room that will reduce the speed stat of the Pokemon holding Room Service by 1. Now it's worth noting that Iron Ball does reduce that Pokemon's speed stat by 50%, whereas Room Service, with a 1 drop to speed, will only be 66% of its original speed total. Now this is a great tool to have and a great backup option should you want the Pokemon being reduced by Room Service to move after an Iron Ball Pokemon. Now surprisingly, that's it for items, so now we're going on to our last chapter, Abilities. Well students, we finally made it. Here we are, Chapter 5, Abilities. Now it should come as no surprise to you after all that we've learned so far, that Pokemon abilities can affect speeds as well. And just like all the other speed control methods we've covered so far, some can speed you up and some can slow you down. Now keep in mind there are literally hundreds of abilities, and to be honest with you, many of them are very niche and many of them you'll never see in battle. So more than likely there are some abilities that will affect speed that you won't see on this list. You're welcome! Let's kick things off with weather. As we all know, there are 4 types of weather: sun, sand, hail, and rain. And for each of those weathers, there is an ability that will double a Pokemon's speed in that weather. Chlorophyll, Sand Rush, Slush Rush, and Swift Swim will all double a Pokemon's speed and give them the same boost as a Tailwind. There's also a similar ability for electric terrain. The ability Surge Surfer will allow an Alolan Raichu to double its speed when it's in electric terrain. And while we're on the subject of doubling speed, let's talk about Unburden. Unburden is an ability that doubles a Pokemon's speed if they lose their held item during battle. Now this may sound difficult to achieve, but with the 4 terrain seeds given in Gen 7 and items like Focus Sash, activating Unburden isn't really much of a burden at all. Once these items are consumed, you can get the benefit from it, be it a stat boost or living, and have your speed doubled. But now let's pivot to stat boosting abilities. Speed Boost is probably the most obvious. A Pokemon with Speed Boost will get +1 to their speed at the end of each of their turns. Now this effect will keep building up until the Pokemon is either KO'd, switches out, or reaches +6 speed. And no discussion about stat boosting abilities would be complete without Steam Engine. The Colossal line may be the only Pokemon that have the ability, but they have taken down so many major events with so many high-profile players using them that the ability is well known to players all throughout VGC. If a Colossal is hit by a water move or a fire move, its speed will immediately go to +6. Remember that Gen 8 also gave us dynamic speed in battles as well, meaning stat boosts take effect immediately. Therefore, when your Colossal gets to +6 speed, it can attack immediately, doing a ton of damage to the opponent. Now, Colossal may be very fast with a +6 boost, but it starts very slow. So let's shift gears and talk about abilities that make Pokemon slow. Now there are really only 2 abilities that slow opposing Pokemon down, and both of them are honestly very uncommon to see. Cotton Down, one of the abilities of Gossifleur and Eldegoss, and Tangling Hair, one of the abilities of Alolan Diglett and Alolan Dugtrio, both reduce an opposing Pokemon's speed when they make contact with Gossifleur, Eldegoss, Diglett, or Dugtrio. Now honestly, neither of these abilities are going to be ones that you're going to see all that often, so you don't need to worry about them that much. But there is one that I want you to keep in the back of your mind: Slow Start. Slow Start is the signature ability of Regigigas. Any Pokemon with Slow Start will see its attack halved and its speed halved for the first 5 turns it is in battle. This ability is so crippling that it kept Regigigas from ever being competitively viable in VGC, until Gen 8 when we got the ability Neutralizing Gas from the Weezing family. Neutralizing Gas finally allowed Regigigas to shed its crippling ability and become the fearsome, legendary Pokemon that had been talked about in Pokemon Legends for centuries. So why am I telling you to remember this ability? Well, if you're ever facing down a Regigigas yourself, keep in mind that all you need to do is get rid of the Neutralizing Gas to give Regigigas its slow start again. It'll cut down its speed and cut down its attack, and cut that attacker down to size. And that does it. We've covered everything you need to know about speed control. I know this has been a very long process, and I thank you for being here with me through all of it. But this information really is very important to know if you ever wish to become a top-tier VGC player. With a good strategy and good speed control, your Mons will be racing you to a championship before you know it.
Wow, thanks Professor. I really appreciate all the information you gave us. Now, I know he gave us a lot of content and that it can seem overwhelming, so what we're going to do is recap that now, and we're also going to post all the recaps down in the description below, so you can review it and reference it at your own pace. Speed control is important because it allows you to attack an opposing Pokemon before they attack you. It also hopefully means that you'll get a KO while your Pokemon is perfectly safe from their attacks. Now, we also currently live in a world of dynamic speed. With Sword and Shield, they made it so that speed changes take place immediately in battle. So if a Pokemon becomes slower or faster, you're going to see that effect right away, meaning that speed control is even more important these days. Now, to gain an edge over your opponent, you can do the following. You can boost your stats with moves like Max Airstream, Dragon Dance, Quiver Dance, Aura Wheel, Shell Smash, and Geomancy, or you can drop your opponent's speed stats with moves like Max Strike, Icy Wind, Bulldoze, and Electroweb. Now, if you're not looking for attacks, you still have some options. You can raise your team speed with Tailwind, which will last for 4 turns, or you can change the order of moves for the turn by using moves like After You or Quash. Now, if you just are looking to reduce the speed of your opponent's Pokemon, you can always combine the Grass Pledge with the Water Pledge to turn your opponent's side of the battlefield into a swamp, meaning that their speeds will be quartered. And of course, if you have slower Pokemon, you can use Trick Room to make the slowest Pokemon go first and the fastest Pokemon go last. Between the disruption and the benefits it gives, it is one of the most powerful options in the game. If moves aren't your bag, you still have some options as well. You can always use an item like Choice Scarf or Iron Ball to make your Pokemon faster or slower. And if all that doesn't work for you, grab yourself a Mon with Speed Boost, Unburden, Swift Swim, Sand Rush, Slush Rush, Chlorophyll, or Surge Surfer and watch as your speeds go through the roof. That's all we have for you for today's lesson. We want to thank you for attending another seminar here at the BridgeFour Games Pokemon VGC Academy. Now, if you like this kind of content and you want to enroll in the Academy yourself, you're in luck because enrollments are always open. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a class. From all of us here at the Academy, we want to thank you so much for being here today. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time in class.